on the hunt for ROV oil leaks. I don't use, manufacturer ROV says change oil every 25 hours. I don't use any oil. And all I do is I lose enough to make a mess. And I don't lose enough to notice it on the dipstick. And I'm only carrying 2.5 quarts. So if I lost any significant amount, I would notice it. But it's just enough to make a mess. So I saw it mostly dripping off the back of my engine case. And so I thought I'm going to find a waterfall coming off of my rear main seal. So I redid the rear main seal last summer before I headed to Ohio. And it's dry. This is great. The seal's holding up awesome. Although it is super worn. You can, I don't know if you can see it here in this picture, but there's these little ridges molded into the seal itself. Now, if you look at the new seal, look at how big those ridges are, how much is left compared to last year's seal. So it's definitely time to change the seal, even though it's not leaking. I expected, like I said, I expected a waterfall of oil coming down here, and it was dry. And the back of my flywheel, of course, the sign, the real sign's the back of the flywheel. Look at that. I did not clean that up. It was that clean. Now, you can see where the seal was riding here, and this is not a machine smooth surface. This is really rough. You can see the machining. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's got ridges. You can feel the machining ridges in this surface. So that could definitely be cleaned up. But like I said, that wasn't the source of my oil leak. So my neighbor, he's a VW guy. He said, sometimes these cam plugs, they come loose. You actually spin them with your fingers. And mine's not loose. It's fine. And he said sometimes these machine plugs from when they machine the oil galleys, they can leak. And I saw a little bit of oil here and here. And a little bit of oil here. And so I'm starting to think now, and then of course here. So I'm starting to think now I cleaned this up earlier this week, and I can feel a little bit of oil wetness here now. So I kind of think my case is just leaking. And then I had my battery cable bolted right here, and I know when I popped this bolt out, it was full of oil inside here. So I know getting oil inside of here. So the case is leaking there inside of that. Let's see, what else? Of course, my push rod tubes, they just got those little rubber things. They weep a little bit, and then where the push rods, or where the head bolts go through the head and come out right here, that'll weep just a little bit. All of it adds up to just an annoying mess. I mean, it's not enough, like I said, to notice it on the dipstick, but it's enough to coat everything with a nice slippery coat of oil. And it's really annoying. So, my solution? Oh yeah, baby. JB Weld. I am going to goop up that seam and smear in those holes with JB Weld. And that should give me at least a summer of nice dry stuff. But the Project Farm guy, he did a thing on JB Weld, and it was amazing. This JB Weld original is really good stuff as far as sticking and holding. So I'm gonna JB Weld my case together. Anything to stop an oil leak. That'll make me happy. Let's give it a shot. Another side note. I sort of messed up when I put on these little flat heads here for this. This is my sensor spark plug plate. Covers up my monster gland nut for the flywheel. I used too much Loctite on those stupid things. So lucky for me, just a week or two ago, I traded a pair of work boots for this DeWalt Impact. It's rated at a 400 foot-pound braking and a 200-pound tightening. And I saw somebody do a review on it. I said, yeah, it came out to about that. So I ended up having I used my little Roy Boy Impact with one of these Allens, and that stupid thing, the Impact one, wouldn't get it. That's my drill, but the Impact version wouldn't get it. So I had this thing sitting around. I was like, oh shoot, I don't know if I'm going to need 200 foot-pounds of braking force on these stupid little things. So I got my little my 3/8 Allen drive for these things, and this stupid thing at 200 foot-pounds finally broke those little flatheads loose, and lucky for me, they didn't strip out. Otherwise, I'd have been drilling that whole thing out. It'd been a nightmare. So yeah, beware of Loctite. Our stuff works good. And just to add to that thought, I paid the 13 bucks from the VW outfit for the 32 millimeter for my gland nut. This gland nut was torqued at 227 pounds, and with this Impact, this gland nut came off easier than these little 6 millimeters with all that Loctite on there. So this thing was a lifesaver, all for a pair of boots. All right, oil leaks fixed, at least on the back of the case. And she worked lovely. I mean, at least for a summer. That's all I want. Just a summer. Let's see how it does. All right. AutoZone had me a 400 foot-pound torque wrench, so I could torque up my, let's see, it's up to my hip here. So I could torque up my lug nut there, my gland nut. I rigged me up a little mount here to hold the prop for me. So I'm going to torque against that. So yeah, I rent this big huge torque wrench from AutoZone, and 350 bucks. But once I take it back, I get my money back. So I found a torque wrench that I'm going to use once or twice a year, maybe. So yeah, let's give it a shot. Oh yeah, the other thing is, it was a 3/4 drive, so I had to go to Harbor Freight and give me a $7 3/4 to half-inch reducer, so that was not so bad. We got my torque wrench is set to 200 because I just want to see if I can torque it by myself. And then I got some little stands here to hold the propeller. And then I got a ratchet strap. A ratchet strap. There's some nice grooves in the head here, going clear around the cart and holding the engine to the cart. And so I got it set to 200 pounds just to see if I can get that much right here. And so here we go. There's 200 pounds. All right, let's try 227. Okay, so while I'm chasing down my oil leaks here, I said paint the block yellow. I don't know how well the paint's going to hold up, but just brighten it up a little bit and make it easy, a little bit easier to find some oil leaks. Painted my push rod tubes, again, just so I can see stuff. And while I'm at it, got my new EGT probes. I got the exhaust manifold at the TIG welder to weld on the nipples for these things. Turns out my engine mount, since I had that off, have worn all the way through. It's basically about 1/8 of an inch right here between the rubber mount here and the metal tube that goes through right here. Anyhow, the bottom ones wore all the way through, and we're rubbing on the aluminum mount right here. So I am right at 200 hours. So basically the mounts are good for 200 hours. And while I'm at it, put on my new tires. So again, 200 hours, and I've got 340 landings on those tires. So that's my first set of tires. So that's not bad. So yeah, so a little bit of paint, clean it up, engine mounts, EGTs, and hopefully clean up some oil leaks. So get a bunch of stuff done. So it's looking good. Back on. That makes me happy. Okay, after a 2-hour flight, we're getting this thing tightened up. This, my temperature sensor is still leaking, and this little nut still leaking a little, but I tightened him up just a little bit more. And then that little nut. So all we got left is one little streak under there after, that was a 2-hour flight. Yay! So we're getting this baby sealed up. Me so happy. Ah, I can keep up with that. Finally, getting these oil leaks fixed. Yes.